Final Fantasy VII is a game that means a lot to a lot of people, and for many different reasons. The story, the turn based combat, the themes, there's a lot to love about this game. And it's no secret that Final Fantasy as a franchise is home to amazing score, owed mostly to Nobuo Uematsu's amazing arrangements. So, without further ado, let's get into my personal top 20 tracks from Final Fantasy VII. There's something about summer or beach focused songs from games for me. They're always able to convey the sunny atmosphere and mood somehow. This song really reminds me a lot of summers from Earthbound, just with a faster pace. It sounds really tropical and really works with the environment of Costa del Sol. And I don't know, bro, I just like the vibe this song gives. This is a track that I really don't know how to describe. It's very happy, but at the same time, the title speaks for itself. The Gold Saucer Date is supposed to be a really relaxed part of the story, where Cloud and whoever he was nicest to throughout the game, usually Aerith, participate in a play and ride the Skywheel. With Aerith, it turns into a really big character moment where she just kind of explains that she wants to find the real Cloud, since she kind of sees through some of the facade he's been putting on for most of the game. Cloud, of course, just doesn't really get it, so, I mean, you get that moment where you're just kind of like, I'm right here, like, what? I don't know. I just think this song really complements this part of the story. This is the perfect song for when you get the High Wind. It uses the main theme of FF7 as a motif, but has a very adventurous feel to it. It's played in the High Wind all the time, for obvious reasons, but one of the parts that I think this song is used best in is right after Cloud explains his true self and says Barrett's famous catchphrase. It's such a good piece for that story beat. Cloud's back and he knows who he is and everyone's ready to get back in the air and everything. I don't know. Just really fits that moment perfectly for me. At first, I wasn't really the biggest fan of this song, but as I heard it more and more, I started to understand why this track is so perfect for the Temple of the Ancients. It's very mysterious but playful at the same time. There's a lot of serious things that happen in the temple, but at the same time there's like that weird purple creature puzzle thing in the clock room. I don't know. I mean, the temple itself was a mystery to Shinra and the party as well, so that explains the uncertainty in the song. And, I mean, it really grew on me. It was actually really cool to hear the motif of it in Rebirth, although I kind of really wish we would have gotten the whole song. Wutai just sounds ethnic. I mean, like, the game presents Wutai as this foreign country that was once at war with Shinra until they kind of just got stomped and turned into a tourist attraction. The visuals are very obviously Eastern Asian inspired, and I just love how good this melody is portraying that. It doesn't sound like any other song in the game, and I'm really glad that they were able to portray that because they just made the music just not sound like anything else. Cid's theme is just so perfect for Cid as a character. It screams adventure, and that's what Cid's all about. I think that this song was the best way they could have introduced Cid. And every time I hear it, it just reminds me of his introduction dialogue. It just screams Captain to me. I really didn't think that Jenova needed another theme, and I actually really didn't see the appeal of the song when I first played FF7. A couple years after playing those when I really started to appreciate this song. It really kind of reminds me of just normal battle music, but more focused on hurrying up, like, you know, like an urgency or something. Like just a more urgent battle theme. It's definitely interesting, and I'm just really excited to see how they remake this track in the third remake game. When I first opened Final Fantasy VII and heard the melody of the prelude, I already knew that I was going to love the music in this game. I know it's a reoccurring theme in Final Fantasy as a series, but just in that FF7 sound font, it just sounds so good. Like, to me, it just really fits with the theme of the planet and life that this game has, and it just serves as an amazing main menu theme. Also, it sounds really, really, really good in the remake, in the menu. I really like it. Some people might be surprised that I have Jenova at 12, but to me there's just too many good songs in this game to put Jenova any higher. It definitely sells the fighting something alien theme that it's going for, as well as urgency, kind of like with Jenova Complete, but you know, Jenova's battle music is just so iconic that I don't think that Jenova's identity is complete without it. This is another track that I remember hearing in the remake and at one of the later stages of the fight or whatever, and just being so happy that we get to hear a remade version of this song, as well as the rendition of Rebirth, just being really, really, really good. Bombing Mission is yet another iconic song. It opens the whole game, accompanied with the visuals of Midgar and, you know, what kind of setting the game is going to take place in. And it really just sets the scene. The game goes from a big opening cutscene straight into the start of the game. And usually in games, there's like an opening, like a, you know, cinematic or whatever, and you start at home or something, or like you're not fighting or whatever. But in this game, you're just straight into just bombing buildings. I mean, like... anyways, I'm really glad that this music doesn't go away when you get into fights. I mean, at least at first. You know, that way just doesn't cut out the music. And again, this is just another track that is just really, really, really well made in the remake. And I think it sold the remake to a lot of different people too. So there's that. Lifestream is a song that I don't really see people talking about. And everyone just always talks about Cosmo Canyon and One Winged Angel. And don't get me wrong, those are amazing songs. And, they're good. But Lifestream just seems magical and people need to appreciate it more. I'm pretty sure that we only hear this song like one or just a few times in the original game during the Bugenhagen cutscene. And the live stream is just such an important part of the story, and I think that the relaxed and magical tone that this song conveys really makes the cinematic, and I was just so happy to hear the motif of the live stream song in Rebirth with the life springs, but those pale in comparison to the remade track for the same cinematic in Rebirth. I just really like this song, so it's going to my top 10. Speaking of Cosmo Canyon, we got Cosmo Canyon at number 9. Not sure if it's because I know what Cosmo Canyon is and its inspirations, but it just sounds tribal. The melody is catchy, and I'm glad that they were able to do a native styled area and have this kind of music to accompany it. I mean, it just fits so well. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about Cosmo Canyon other than that it's one of the most popular tracks in the game, and for a damn good reason. Part of me hates that I had to put main theme of Final Fantasy VII at number 8, but at the same time, this is pretty high on the list. The motif of the song is present in so much of the music, especially in the remake trilogy, that, you just can't not put it, high up here. I love the slow build-up, and then just bum, 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 it's so grand and, cinematic, that it just really makes sense that they would put this song when you're on the world map. Nothing compares to just leaving Midgar, hearing the song for the first time and realizing that the world that the game takes place in is just massive compared to Midgar. Like, you thought that Midgar was big. No, you got this entire world to discover. I mean, it's such a perfect song for that kind of feeling. And, I mean, I know that I thought that Midgar was a giant part of the game when I was playing, but it really just doesn't compare to the size of anything else. And this song just sells that feeling so well. Now, this is a song that I also don't really see in any top 10s. I love this song. Every RPG has a happy town theme, and this is definitely it. It's so calming, and it's really hard for me to not whistle along with it, because this song is just so catchy. It's the perfect break from all the industrial and company themes you hear in Midgar, and I didn't realize it at first, but it really reminds me of the 8 melodies from Earthbound, especially that last part. Okay, I think everyone was expecting this to be up here somewhere, but for me it doesn't quite break the top 5. But Fight On is just an incredible boss battle theme. The player's been hearing Let the Battles Begin the entire game so far, and when we first hear this one, we're like, damn, okay, I mean, this is how we know we're fighting some real shit. I mean, it just sells the higher stakes and intensity of the boss fight for me, especially during Airbuster, where you're like, okay, this is the real deal or whatever. So, it's such a, it just gets you pumped up. I mean, I don't know. This is yet another track that I don't see in a lot of top 10s, let alone a top 5. This song is pretty thematically different from any other area of the game, and it might just be that, you know, I know this is the final area of the story, but it really just does sound like a last mission or something. Like I can imagine this kind of a song being in like Independence Day or something like something like that. After the initial build-up, the melody just really does it for me, and like this is the end of the line or something, and the end of a long journey that the job isn't done quite yet. I mean, I don't know, just Judgment Day is just such a good song, man. When I first made this list, Aerith's theme was not in the top 5. I've always liked it, but I had to listen to it a couple more times when writing this list to realize that it's definitely one of the best themes of the entire soundtrack. Nobuo Uematsu, again, is just a genius when it comes to writing character-focused music. It just sounds so orchestric, and the melody is just so sad, which obviously pertains to Aerith in her character arc, but, you know, it just sounds like a funeral or something. But it's just such an amazing arrangement, in my opinion. I never get tired of hearing this song, and it makes me want to cry sometimes, just how good it is. Also, the version in Rebirth is without a doubt my favorite song in the entire game. There's a guy on YouTube who's compiled most versions of the song without Genova interrupting it to make Aerith's theme pure or something, and that video was incredible to listen to. Aerith's theme, for me, just really deserves number 4 or higher on my list, depending on the day, really. Okay, guys, it wouldn't be a top Final Fantasy VII music list without One Winged Angel, okay? It's so iconic, and I didn't even know it was related to Final Fantasy for the longest time. I remember hearing it in, like, unrelated YouTube videos, and I always thought it was just, like, an actual, like, Beethoven-era piece or something. I actually prefer the original from the original Final Fantasy VII over any other version of the song, because for me, the, you know, bells and whistles and electric guitar just doesn't really do it for me. Also, no other version of One Winged Angel has the same insane bass notes in it. That it just really hammers that evil tone to it. Everything about the song is genius, and it's the perfect song for the final battle with Safer Sephiroth. There's nothing quite like Listen to the Cries of the Planet in the entire soundtrack of FF7. And I can't quite think of a song that sounds similar to it from any other game that I've played. It sounds so ethereal and unsettling, like something happened in this place a long time ago. It definitely makes you feel like you're in some kind of abandoned ancient sanctuary of civilization or something, and it almost feels alien. But it's yet another case of Uematsu just being a thematic genius, per usual, and it just really sells this feeling of the Tetris Forgotten City just so well. Alright, before number 1, we got some honorable mentions here. These are in no particular order, but the first one is Anxiety. Nibelheim and Cloud's Pass in general just really have just such a good song to accompany them. I can't imagine this song being related to anything else besides someone's past or, you know, their hometown or something. That's just what it reminds me of hearing it outside of the game. It's so, like, unnerving, but it just sounds like the past. And the second honorable mention is Infiltrating Shinra. This is another song that I never hear people talk about. I really like Shinra's motif, like the Shinra incorporated song. I like that motif a lot, and the Mach Reactor track as well. But I picked Infiltrating Shinra because of how anxious it makes you. Like, it sounds like so tense, and like you're sneaking around, but you have to be really careful about being caught, which is, you know, part of it. And it just, like I said, it just screams anxiety, which honestly should make it probably be called Anxiety like the last one, but it's not, so I don't know. Tifa's theme is one that I was kind of upset that I couldn't include in the top 20. This song has such a home and motherly feel to it, which fits Tifa perfectly. And like I said, I'm kind of upset that I couldn't include it, but I mean, it's just so much better in the remake. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the original, but the remake one is just so good. Don Corneo's Mansion has such a fun track for me. It just, it sounds shady, but it's fun, like, you know, just like really unserious. Almost like a circus or something like that. And the brass really reminds me of Don Corneo as well. Just like, you know, just fatuous, I don't know. I know some people might be surprised that I didn't have Under the Rotting Pizza in my top 20, and I really do like it, but over any of the other songs, I mean, no. I couldn't pick it over Costa del Sol, but just like every other song in this video, it's very thematic, and it fits the slums very well, but like I said, it just doesn't go above anything else on this list for me. No matter how many times I've heard this battle music, I just never get tired of it. You hear it 1,000 times in the original, but it's just so good every time. I had a hard time picking a number 1 spot because, in reality, on different days, each of the tracks in the top 5 are my favorite song from Final Fantasy VII. I chose this one because it's just so energetic, I love the build-up, and I remember hearing fan-made remakes of this track before the actual remake came out, and being just blown away by it. And then, you know, being blown away again because when I actually heard it in the remake, you know, it was amazing. I'm kind of glad that there's a lot more variety in battle music in the remake series, but at the same time, you can't beat the classics. Every time I hear this one again, it's used so sparingly in the remake, especially in Rebirth, actually, but every time that I hear it again, it's just that much more of a treat to hear.